Okay, I had to find my notes here. I look like I'm good to go here, Barb.
I'm sure you are.
David, he's good. Are you good, Barb?
Um,
If you're not, we got time. He's got a recording at 1, but once we get going, we usually knock it out pretty quickly.
yeah, hold on. But, excuse me. Okay.
I hate Jenna Griswold, but why in the world
Now,
people think they're going to be able to impeach her? I'm like, you can't. So why do you guys even just do something like that? What, you think it makes it look good to constituents when anybody with a brain who's a constituent would say, well, you guys actually will have no success with that, right? I mean, no, they will not.
Well, we got to try.
I like the idea of trying. She needs to know that we don't support her, I think.
Oh my, well, you know what? I hadn't thought of it from that angle. I mean, she it's hard to say the worst. I haven't been in Colorado for, I've been here for a long time, but can I say she's the worst ever? She's the worst in my lifetime. I can say that.
Well, she made national news doing that.
Yep.
So I I guess there's something going on with guns, like they're gonna make us buy insurance if we own guns.
I'll tell you, we're going to see because they got a couple more days to go through. And apparently, I talked to a couple of legislators the past couple of weeks, today, yesterday, and I guess it's a tactic that they started using a while ago, and that is they wait until they get to the last week, like we are now, and then they start modifying the bills. So, they change the language here and here and here. You could have, if you didn't know they were going to do that, you would have spent a ton of time in the past month or so contemplating this bill. And now all of a sudden, nope, we got something else we're going to throw at you. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if I would comply with that, you know. It's sort of like when they made Obamacare a tax,
Right.
forcing you to buy insurance.
Yep. Which the average person who was all in favor of it didn't quite understand that part of it.
Right. But I was thinking about buying one of those Bernie guns, Bernie,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
that shoot tear gas pellets.
Yeah. Exactly. I know a
They're
couple of people who have those.
really? Are
Yeah.
they
They like them. And I mean, the key ingredient there is they would never buy or use a real firearm. So, and they asked me what I think. And I said, well, you know what? I mean, it's better than not having anything. I think, you got a lot of different options. You got bear spray and tasers, which I really can't recommend. But the two people I know who got them really, really like them and they believe in them. And again, they probably would never own a firearm.
Yeah, I mean, stop your assailant, right?
Yeah.
That's the key. Stop them, call the cops, you know, hopefully they show. I think they would for an altercation. I don't think they show up for domestic things like squatting.
Oh my God. I know. Right. I, I, I still need to spend more time on that. I get caught up on that and then scams. And I'm like, oh, I need to, do a couple of days on this and this and this. Next thing I know, everything's going on all over the world. And
Yeah, tell me about it.
up in the legislature here in Colorado Springs and all the rest. And I'm like, I'm trying to cram as much as I can into a 2-hour show. And it's difficult. I would just say that it's difficult.
Yep, they're keeping you busy, aren't they?
They are.
Crazy. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I have to put just to go, okay, I'm not going to pay attention to politics and I'm gonna focus.
Right. I agree with that. My
I get
problem is
easily distracted, you
I
know.
do too. I do too. And, I look at my phone when I go to sleep and I see that I've spent between 7 and 11 hours per day on my phone. And none of it's just fun time. It's all reading stories or looking for sound bites and all the rest. And I was telling my producer, okay, that's good. Except the problem is I find way too much stuff. So I'm actually probably spending 2/3, 3/4 of that time on something that won't be on the show. The only redeeming quality is it'll probably play into some show I do down the road. So it's good knowledge, but it's not going to help me the very next day.
Or it'll come up, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I do kind of pride myself in having deep knowledge. So if something happens, I can go back to that. All right. I've got, let's see, David is ready. I am ready. Are you good, Barb?
Yeah, ready to go.
Let's count it down in 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday, and if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site. That's barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search Barb on most of the popular podcast platforms. You'll find her there. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about your primary asset. That would be your home. So, Barb, what are we going to be covering today?
Well, Richard, I'm excited about today's show because things are changing a lot in the real estate industry in general. Plus, the market has shifted. It's way different than it was last year. So we're going to deep dive into some of the things that are going to change, that have changed, and some could be for the better. The first one we're going to talk about is how do you find a buyer for your home? Now, most people just hire an agent to do that, and sometimes that may not be the best solution. So we're going to give you lots of options and lots of ideas on how to get that right. And then the second topic we're going to talk about, and I'm on this topic, I named it in honor of my favorite Rush Limbaugh, how to prevent low information agents from sabotaging your home sale. I know that seems pretty extreme, but the truth is they do that under the guise of fiduciary, and it creates a miserable experience. So if you know it's coming, you can plan for it. And we're going to talk about some of those things. Also, how much would a buyer likely pay for your home? That's the number one question I get from home sellers. You know, what's my home worth? Or sometimes they have their own ideas about what it's worth. So we have to show them what the market's doing right now to give them realistic expectations so they know going forward how they are successful in the sale of their home. And last but not least, this is another question I get very frequently is what do I need to do to prepare my home for sale? So we're actually going to give you a checklist on how to get your house ready for sale. And as always, I love talking about our hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, the market has certainly changed in the last year. It's causing some people to wonder if their home is ever going to sell. We know your site is named Barb Has the Buyers, and I know from referring you to my friends, relatives, that you come up with buyers for homes all the time. Tell us how you do it.
Well, it's very interesting. First of all, I'm marketing for buyers in all aspects of my real estate business. I am marketing to attract buyers either to my listings, or what we have to offer is to find them homes that they cannot find on the internet. And in general, most buyers connect with a real estate agent online. And oftentimes there's absolutely zero vetting that takes place with that. So they happen to see a home on Zillow or Realtor.com or some other tech company site, and the buyer says, hey, I think I'd like to see that home. Is it available? And the agent goes, let me check. And they bring up the typewriter and type it up, go, oh yeah, it's available. Would you like to see it? And so the very first meeting with that buyer is at the house. There has been absolutely no vetting that takes place. These agents don't know if these buyers can buy any home, let alone that home. Also, the state doesn't require them to know whether or not they qualify for a home. They also don't know what they're looking for. So imagine if you're a home seller, you put your house on the market and okay, you have a scheduled showing and you get all excited and you think, oh, the buyer must love this home because they've seen the pictures and they want to come check it out. But in the meantime, whoever they connected up with, this random real estate agent that does not know the home and does not know the buyer, shows up at the door, they walk through, they take a look at it, and they reject it, sometimes for reasons that don't make sense. As an example, let's say it's a ranch style home, and suddenly as a home seller, you're getting feedback. Oh, well, my buyer really wanted a 2-story. Really? Well, why are you even looking at this home? It doesn't make sense. That's because most agents don't sit down with their buyers and actually educate them about the market, educate them about how they can win when they buy a home, educate them about how they're going to find them the home, and educate them about the market conditions, home values, things like that. So when they do find the right home, they can position the buyer to get them the home that they want. They don't do that. They show up, open the door, and hope it works. And the thing that's surprising to me is the state doesn't even require the agent to verify that the buyer has the ability to perform, even if they get the buyer under contract, which is, to me, absolute insanity. So it makes it very frustrating for home sellers because they're thinking that everybody that comes and schedules a viewing of the home actually wants to see their home. And unfortunately, whoever does happen to open that door for them may know very little about the house. We have a name for those, Richard. Do you remember what I used to call them?
It has to do with something popping out of your toaster, doesn't it?
That's right. I call them Pop-Tart agents. They get a call to, oh my God, I get to go show a home. They pop out of their toaster, they show up at the house, open the door, and just hope and pray the buyer can buy and wants to buy a home like that. But here's the problem. Many times they haven't done any research about the home. They haven't looked into the home. You know, if I'm showing a house, I at least am going to take the MLS listing in there with me because I know when I'm walking through a home, the buyer's going to be asking me questions. They're going to assume I'm the expert. They're going to assume I know everything there is to know about the house. But that's not how it really works. The agents open a door and stand there and kind of say kind of silly things. Like, as an example, just last weekend, we had a showing on one of my listings. This quote, agent or door opener was standing right next to the air conditioner compressor, explaining to the buyer in his way of handling an objection to say, well, you could put AC units in the window. That would work fine for that. It's like, he doesn't know what central air looks like. He's standing right next to it. I mean, it's just shocking to me, the stuff that goes on. And of course, we got it all on camera. That's another thing they don't pay attention to. Don't you think that many of the homes available for sale right now are going to have cameras either at the door or inside the home or outside? But they still stand out there and blab the dumbest things. Like they stand there and tell their buyers to position themselves as experts. It's not worth that much. And it's like, well, how do they know? You know, I have a hard time getting the agents to read the showing instructions, let alone, know any information about the house. And I have to go to great lengths to really educate the buyers about the house, either before they get in the door or after they get in the door. So it's really important who you choose to help you buy a home these days and get the right buyer. And the problem is if that person that meets that agent there thinks that the agent is an expert and the agent is standing there going, it's not worth that much. And they encourage the buyer to make a low offer, then the buyer doesn't get the house that they love. They believe that agent. They move on to the next house without even realizing that it's a good buy for that home. There's even companies out there that pay real estate agents to open doors, $50, $70. The way I found out was from one of my clients. She called me, she goes, hey, Barb, this is great. I can call this company and have them show me a house, anything I want to see, 7 o'clock at night. I'll go look at it and then I'll call you to make the offer. How's that sound? I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do. But I was shocked at that's what they do. They're not they don't have a relationship with these buyers. They're just performing a function like licensed door openers. And guess what? Do those licensed door openers actually write the offer? No, they don't write the offer. They hand it off to their sales expert, and maybe the sales expert might educate themselves about the house. I don't know. But it is the most insane stuff that I see going on in the real estate industry right now. And I'm really, really glad it's going to change. Even when we have our tour of homes, our open houses, I see agents show up there all the time, and it's obvious to me they're meeting that buyer for the first time. So when they walk up to register, they'll look at us and go, "This is my buyer." I've even had agents trying to scalp buyers from the line outside the open house just to get business. That's how desperate and untrained they are. So if you are thinking of making a move, yes, we have buyers. We have over 27,881 buyers in our database of buyers in waiting. We also have 64 high net worth cash buyers. So typically we could find at least 100 buyers that could match your home. And so if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We're going to match our buyers to your home first and create as much demand as possible so you get the most money. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. And you can always reach Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. We're talking about the shift in the real estate market. Barb, where do you think this real estate market is headed right now?
Well, it's really interesting to see the changes just compared to from this year to last year. So last year, 2023, even though the rates were higher after the Fed stepped on the gas with interest rates, from February through June, we saw prices go up, 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 up. Why is that? Typically the springtime, there's lower inventory, yet there's good demand that time of year. It didn't happen this year. Why is that? Well, the rates are a point and a quarter higher than they were a year ago. So that creates a lot of demand destruction all by itself, because every time you go up a point in interest rates, it drops the buyer demand by 10%. And we're seeing almost exactly that in the market. Sales are down by 15%. Inventory's up by 30% right now. There's more homes to compete with. And that means when you let somebody handle the sale, you want to make sure that you position the home to get the most money. It doesn't mean ask for the moon for your house, right? Because not everybody knows how to price a home correctly. And the old theory about pricing homes is not working right now because the market is shifting. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to find out how to price your home to get the most money, what my sense is still going to be a good, strong market, but it's not going to be the same as it was a year before. You're going to have more competition. We're seeing the prices a little bit lower than they were a year ago. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you have to price it right. Take a look at your competition, because there's a lot more choices out there for buyers, including new construction. So if you want to make a move, and you'd like to talk to us about what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, and have us show you all of our buyers. We show up with a stack of cash offers on your home, and nobody else does that. Give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we'll be talking about how to prevent low information agents from sabotaging your home sale. Stay tuned for that.
Oh, this is why everybody hates me.
I mean,
Was I too extreme? I
wait,
can't.
make sure I heard the question. You weren't saying, I thought I heard.
Oh, I just asked if you thought I was too extreme.
It was interesting. Was that the question? That's what I heard.
Was it too extreme? You know,
Oh,
like
no,
too
no.
aggressive?
Nope. Nope.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think because I'll tell you what, I think you're doing a favor to a lot of people out there who they just don't understand, and there's no way they would know that these people are out there. The idea, we just have somebody who gets paid to go open the door. We have people just show up there and they think that they can just, talk to somebody in line and make them their client. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. Crazy.
I'm gonna grab something here.
Wendy, you want me to shut the door?
If the phone rings and I don't want to talk to them without.
Okay.
I'm gonna bother you later.
Okay. Andy.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Here you speak about how bad real estate agents actually try to derail real estate sales. What are some of the red? I like this, Barb.
Well,
Well, I mean, I know the bad real estate agents aren't going to like this, but the truth is, if they're good real estate agents and they're doing everything above board and, you're just in competition with them, that's one thing. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who are bad actors and they're trying to take advantage of people who just don't have the knowledge from listening to your show or talking with you. And I don't know, I think you're doing a public service to a lot of people. And if that does not accrue to the benefit of Pop-Tart agents and others who want to, just show up and pilfer, I say, your
I need
client.
the money.
Oh, I know.
The money, but I don't want to do the work.
That seems to be a whole generational thing as well. You're right.
Mhm.
Okay.
I had an agent call me and go, "Can you send me comps?" You know,
What?
oh yeah. I,
I got to tell you what, I don't always get my work done. Sometimes I'm late, sometimes whatever, but I'm trying to think if I don't think I ever say, hey, could you do your work for me? Because it's too hard or I don't feel like doing it. I know it's not your job or anything, but come on.
well, I just, I'll just tell them, sure. And, if you'd like to just refer your buy, because some of them will call and ask me to show it to them as well.
Oh gosh. I know. I'm happy to do that, except I get the commission on the sale. We
That's
agree.
right. I'll say, yes, please send me a referral. I'll be happy to take care of your buyer. And then
Right.
I'm like, oh, no, we want the money, but we just want you to do the work. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
And I hate to keep maligning the next generation, but I do see that a lot, where they want they want all the benefits of working hard, but they don't actually want to work hard. All right, you good, David? David's good. Barb, you good?
Yeah.
All right, I'll count us down in three, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. And Barb, I've been on your show now for about 4 years. I often hear you speak about how bad real estate agents can actually try to derail estate sales. That's all bad. Tried to put a little bit more emphasis in there and I just screwed it up. I'll do that all again if I could, David. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb is the host of the program, and I've been with you, Barb, on the show now for 4 years. I often hear you talk about how bad real estate agents actually try to derail real estate sales. So what are some of the red flags that home sellers need to prepare for to look out to make sure that these bad real estate agents aren't sabotaging a sale?
Well, let's start with the ones that try to prevent contracts. So, the way real estate agents get paid is it's all commission sales. So we go out, we get a home under contract, we go through the process, we get to closing, and that's when the agents get paid in the end, when all the work is done. Okay. But for some reason, I don't know what happened, but the state really impresses upon agents that you have to be a fiduciary. You have to put their needs ahead of yours. The problem is they don't know what their needs are, right? So they just assume their needs are to go and get stuff from the other side and fight for their client. And I have seen people fight over pennies and nearly blow up a deal over a really minor thing rather than trying to find a solution for it. So some of the more common things that I see in agents trying to prevent contracts is they basically come up with these really strange, unfounded opinions. Like when they say, like I just mentioned, they'll stand there and look at the home and go, well, it's not worth that much. Well, how do they know the buyer doesn't think it's worth that much? It doesn't, the buyers are looking at what they can get right now in their price range. It might be worth that much, but if the agent doesn't think it's worth that much and they're saying it to the buyer might believe him and go, oh, okay, well, I guess if I'm gonna make an offer, but I don't know, the agent put it in doubt for me, but if I am gonna make an offer, I'm gonna make a really low ball offer. And then, oh, what if I have competition? And if I have competition, then they end up not getting the house, which I see that all the time. The job of a real estate agent is sales. It is a sales job. They're not supposed to show up and criticize, and I think they do it just to position themselves as experts. And I get it. I was showing a house the other day. It was really obvious it had structural problems. You couldn't see it from the cracks, but you could feel half the house going downhill. And it's too bad because it's a really cute house. But, she noticed it. The buyer noticed it first. We talked about it a little bit, but I didn't try to discourage her. I just said, that if you buy a house like this, it's going to be a problem for resale because usually structural issues are big, big dollars, $35,000, $50,000 to resolve if they can be resolved. Or they say things like when they show the home, oh, it won't be approved for a VA or an FHA loan. Well, that is just not true. I have sold homes that were pretty darn rough looking that were approved for VA financing, and that's because they can be repaired to pass VA financing. What VA and FHA will not allow for it to meet the loan guidelines are these simple things. The house has to be livable, meaning the plumbing and the heat have to work. There could be no peeling paint on the outside, no broken windows, no safety hazards like missing outlet covers, trip hazards, those kind of things are the things that the VA looks for. I've had the VA ask to have those big window well covers put over the top of the window wells so kids and dogs don't fall in, that kind of stuff. It's not that high of a standard to pass VA, but it also doesn't say who has to fix it. It doesn't say the seller could fix it. I had one time where the buyer fixed it. And the buyer said, hey, I can do this. I want this house. He got a great deal on acreage. And we're like, okay, fine. And it passed VA and he's happy as a clam. So you want to make sure that, agents aren't doing that. That's why it's a really good idea to go ahead and put cameras up around the house. You can buy those Blink or the Ring doorbell cameras or some of the other, security system companies and just watch what they do. It's relatively easy to put those cameras up and see what's going on. And they just forget and they blab away when they're in the house. And just so you know, another problem that agents tend to derail deals is over inspections. So I highly recommend that every buyer do an inspection on any home that they're buying. But some of the things that they ask for are really unreasonable. Like it's not their opportunity to ask for new stuff, like I want new granite counters. I want you to put in new windows. Now, if it was broken, like if the window was broken, it would make sense to have it repaired, the glass repaired. Or if something was not functional, it would make sense. But many, many times on inspections, you see the inspectors come in and actually encourage the buyer to ask to improve the home, to bring the home to today's building codes with special electrical outlets or all kinds of crazy stuff. Replace all the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors. Well, it's a recommended thing, but not required. So you really need an experienced agent that understands what would be reasonable to ask for on an inspection and what's kind of more of an upgrade and not reasonable. At the end of the day, inspections are negotiable anyway, but you don't want the inspector and or the agent to position the home to make it think it's not a good home. Last year, I actually had a inspector come in. It was an acreage property out east, and he started his day by turning every single faucet inside and outside the home on at the same time and ran it for 4 hours. Okay. It was a property with a well. Well, wells have tanks. Eventually, the tanks are going to drain out. It is not normal when you're in a house to run every single faucet for 4 hours. So, guess what happened? He ran the well dry. He sucked up sand through the plumbing. Then he goes and tells the buyer that the well is no good. There was nothing wrong with the well. There's definitely something wrong with that dummy inspector. He probably cavitated and broke the well pump. And you have to watch what they do. And and the agents don't know. They're like, oh, okay, I guess you have to terminate because the well's no good. So you really need an experienced agent that understands what's reasonable and what's not reasonable when it comes to inspections, because you don't want the low information, lesser educated, lesser experienced agents to derail a deal and be unreasonable when it comes to things like that. And I do these all the time. I help my clients negotiate for inspections and repairs all the time. Some things are reasonable, some things are not. Sometimes people make crazy assumptions about homes, like, oh, you failed to disclose that the roof was leaking, and it just, I don't know, it goes on and on. But the key is that you want to make sure that you don't have an agent position the home to make it think it's really, really bad. It's okay to address concerns, but you need to bring in your kind of big guns to back you up when you have those sort of challenges. As an example, I've had a few situations where the agent thought there was something wrong with the roof. And it turned out what happened was the insurance company that the buyer picked decided that any roof older than 10 years old, they were not going to cover. So therefore, the buyer's agent asked for a new roof. We had 2 roofers go take a look at that roof. There's nothing wrong with the roof. It was a high quality, high impact shingle. And so we went back to the buyer and said, nope, we've got 2 roof certs from roofers. They both say the roof is fine, and you need to go get a new insurance company. And that's what they did. And they closed on the home. So you got to solve problems all the time in this business. And it's sad for me to say, but 81% of the agents out there sell 3 or less homes a year. So if they don't have the experience to deal with this stuff, they just react to these unlicensed inspectors and say, oh, the inspector must be right about the condition of the home. And that's not necessarily true. Another example would be building codes, right? You have to put in a GFCI everywhere there's water. Well, that's today's building code, but it wasn't when the house was built. So you have to know when to push back and when to not in this situation. And, sometimes you'll have crazy stuff like go on. Like one time I had a real estate agent that showed up at the inspection and the seller asked us to attend. Okay, so we did. And for some reason, because she was used to doing things that way where they had the house to themselves on the inspection, she had an absolute meltdown, hissy fit, told her buyer to terminate the contract because my team's representative was attending the inspection on behalf of the seller. Now, of course, the buyers fortunately overrode her and thought she was crazy and apologized to us, but there's some crazy stuff that goes on, and you just have to know what's right and what's wrong. Okay, another thing that you really should check out though before you go on the market are some of the more high ticket items that you might have to run across if a buyer does their own inspection. Things like roofs. Many of the roofers will come out and do roof certifications for free. The age and the condition of your furnace, the electrical panel, sewer and septic lines, very, very expensive things that you should probably check out actually before you put your house on the market. And that is what we help our clients do, is be prepared for when it's time to go through an inspection. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I have over 27,881 buyers in waiting just on my little website. And typically we can find about 100 buyers that would be a high match for your home. Plus, we have 64 high net worth cash buyers. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. And if you're interested in selling your home and you want to call Barb, the number is 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about how to prevent low information real estate agents from sabotaging your sale. Barb, what are some of the other things that a home seller can do to prevent these agents from getting in the way of selling their home?
Well, we have what we call a certified pre-owned home program, and it's optional, but it's something that might give the seller peace of mind to get that pre-inspection, to know upfront if there's any problems they have to deal with. I'm working with the seller right now that did that. They had their sewer line checked out, and guess what? They found a pretty good break. They're going to have to do an expensive repair. They need to close in a certain time frame, so they didn't want anything to derail their sale down the road. So they're on top of that, which is great. That means it's done. Buyers are happy. They know they have a good working order system and the whole property is in good working order. And it makes buyers pay a premium for homes. I would consider installing some kind of security system. Cameras, Ring or Blink, they're relatively inexpensive, especially if you have a vacant home these days, so you know what's going on. And part of what we do is actually help our clients prepare for their home to go on the market. And of course, always our promotion is top notch because it's all about pricing and the photos to get the buyers in the door, and then the house is going to do the rest. And you don't necessarily have to make your home available to show 24/7. I don't know who came up with that idea. I don't think it's a great idea. What I see problems with agents is they really feel entitled to be able to see it when they want to see it. And they don't understand people have schedules and they have kids and dogs and they can't necessarily open up their home 24/7. So don't feel entitled to show it all the time. You don't have to do that. And actually, I think when you make it less available, it makes it more exclusive. And don't trust what an unlicensed inspector might say about the condition of your home. Go ahead and verify it with experts in the trade. Some of these agents just believe these inspectors like lemmings going over the cliff. I remember one time I had this inspection where the inspector showed up with his little gadget that's supposed to read carbon monoxide detection. And he played it next to this brand new furnace, and sure enough, it went off. So we're in the middle of February. He shuts down the furnace. calls me and says, this furnace has gone bad. It's leaking carbon monoxide. There was no smell of gas. Well, turned out the guy didn't know how to calibrate his little gadget and scared the buyer away from the home. You don't want this stuff to happen. That's why a certified pre-owned home program will work really well for you. And we can help you with these things in advance. And hiring the agent that knows how to work with inspections, how to sell homes, how to negotiate for these repairs so that there are no surprises in the end. Give us a call. I'm Barb Schlinker with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And we have 27,881 buyers in waiting on our website. Plus, we have 64 high net worth cash buyers. These cash offers are actually pretty good. So if you don't want to deal with the traditional sales process and want to go completely as is, we can handle that too. Call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, give Barb a call, 719-301-3900, or go ahead and visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about how much would a buyer likely pay for your home. You don't want to miss that. There you go. Take a look, laying them down, as they say.
I went a little long. I'm sorry.
I'm going to step up for just a second. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Anything happening?
I just want to show it, and I really wanted it before. Agent that tried to buy it from him before, but she's gonna go see it today. She's like, I'm gonna be the one that puts the offer for myself. So I was like, oh, okay. I'll do. Couldn't find it on, showing times. But I guess the way it's written on there, so it's like R space E space A, and so I called her, but it was before she come get me. And then another buyer called them and show her tomorrow at 5:30.
Okay.
Out there, so.
It's gotta be a cash deal. I mean, we're still trying to move out the sale date. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We're not really advertising much about that. I don't want them to know that. I'm just going in there. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm back whenever you guys are ready. Jeez.
Okay. Every now and then you'll be you'll have followed a story for a while and you'll have read 10 or 15 stories about a subject. And it's like, oh my gosh, there is so much here, but I think I pretty much have a good understanding of what's taking place. And that's the case with Ukraine. There's something about it that just says, hold on, hold on, hold on. This does not make absolute sense. Why is the United States and NATO and blah, blah, blah? And then all of a sudden, I just found this London School of Economics, and guy has a story on Ukraine, the United States, NATO, et cetera. And it makes not only Ukraine, but Russia going into Afghanistan, the United States going into the Middle East with the Gulf War. It makes all of it pretty clear. And there's a much bigger plan than people realize. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And I'd never known if the thing was true about the United States telling Saddam Hussein, okay, if you have an issue with Kuwait, just deal with it and we'll stay out of the way. And then when he did that, it's like, nope, we set you up so now we can go after you and bring you down. Mm-hmm. This guy is citing that, and actually, I don't know, I may send that to you because you know what, you don't have time for it. Let's see. I'm good to go. David, how about you? Barb, how about you?
I'm ready.
I'll count us down.
Okay.
We'll go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most people want to get the most money for their home, of course, but there is a lot of misinformation out there about how to price a home, especially now that it's taking longer to sell a home. Why is home pricing such a critical element of selling a home? And how does a home seller decide the most likely price a buyer would actually pay for a home?
Well, Richard, pricing a home correctly could mean the difference between the seller getting the most money for the home or not getting any offers at all. And it's sitting on the market month after month and just nothing happening and getting kind of stale. And we're seeing a lot of that right now. I did some research this morning. I was really surprised to see that probably 1 in 5 homes on the market have been on the market for longer than 5 months. That's a long time. That means something wasn't right. Either it was marketing or pricing. It had to be those two. And so more than likely it was pricing. And the market's going to tell you right away if you miss the mark, if you're getting very few or no showings, no offers, it's just numbers. It's priced too high. Just last week, I put a home on the market that literally, Richard, is completely gutted. It looks as though it was a foreclosure that was taken back. It looked as though they had some kind of water leak somehow. So it was flood cut, meaning the lower 3 feet of the drywall and on the upper level were cut out. In the kitchen, there was no cabinets. In the bathrooms, there was nothing but the shower pan, and the basement was down to the studs. Yet the seller for that home priced it right. And within a few days, I had 30 offers. Okay. So it's all about pricing. And the number one thing that home sellers want from their real estate agent is how to price it right. So let's say you're on the market and you're not getting any offers. Well, it's probably if your marketing is not bad, which I still see to this day, unfortunately, some agents that really don't take the time or don't understand how to appropriately position a home on the marketing front. Meaning you can't have cluttered rooms. You can't have the giant giraffe in the living room. You can't have, trash bags and dog toys laying around. It is enough for a buyer to say, I don't want to see that house, because if they don't care enough to pick up for photos, what's the rest of the house going to be like? That is what happens. But when it comes to pricing, buyers seem to have an almost instinctual knowledge about whether or not it's a good deal, because they're looking at what's available out there, right? And if they're finding that that represents the best home in their price range, they're going to jump on it. I don't care what's going on in the market. So the number one thing that home sellers want from their agents is how to price it realistically. Now, I have this discussion every week with multiple sellers, and it's a fun discussion because most people want the most money, right? And they tend to naturally price their homes well above market value because they want the most money. But that doesn't get you the most money. What gets you the most money is pricing the home correctly. And a lot of people say, well, why don't they just make me an offer? Because they won't make you an offer if they're finding other homes that represent a better deal. They won't even go look at it. If you don't have people coming to look at your home, you've got one of two problems: pricing or marketing. And the truth is, I'd love to get the sellers millions of dollars for their home, but here's the problem. It's only going to sell at whatever the buyers think it's worth. And buyers are getting more and more picky. Right now, our inventory has gone up by 30% as compared to a year ago, and the sales are down another 15%. So you can almost say we have like a 45% delta in the sales volume as compared to last year. And there are some people, if you price it low, that will still follow that and make ridiculous low offers. You don't have to take any offer that you get. You don't even have to take a full price offer. But if you're a home seller and you have offers, you have choices, and that's what you want. And generally, the market's going to give you a clue. If you're getting no showings, we're way off the price by at least 6%. If you're getting just a few showings, we're off by 3 to 5%. I've just had 2 sellers make that exact correction. Boom. Both times they got multiple offers as soon as they did what we suggested. If you're getting offers, you're probably in the ballpark, just a matter of time. Or if you're getting lots of showings and you're no offers, you're off by a little bit. In general, even according to the National Association of Realtors that tracks statistics every single month, they will tell us that if you price a home too high and slowly walk the price down, you're going to end up netting less money. You don't want to do that, especially not in this market. You want to make sure that you actually price the home according to, you start with similar sales to get an idea what your neighbor's home is selling for, especially the ones that are just like yours. But that may not work. And that's what I'm finding right now in this market is pricing it exactly to similar sales is not cutting it. Okay. And that's because we have more inventory and fewer buyers. So you really have to take a very objective look on what's available, and especially around you, and position the home to get top dollar. And you really can't rely on those automatic valuations that you see all over the place. Realtor.com, if you go up on Realtor.com and put in your address, you will find an automatic valuation from 3 different data crunching companies, and they could vary by as much as $100,000. And guess what? Is your home going to sell for that much? Probably not. Is your home going to sell for what Zillow says it's worth? Probably not. You need a really experienced agent that knows what you're doing, what they're doing in order to get the home sold. And the problem is because we have more inventory and fewer buyers to work with, guess what's happening? The days on market is expanding a lot. So last year, the average days on market was under 30 days. Right now in El Paso County, it's over 72 days. In Douglas County, it's 56 days. That's a lot of days on market. We're leaning towards a buyer's market. So you have to be ready for this. And the best way to be successful when the market is correcting like that is to do what my coach calls lead the market down, price it very realistically, and the buyers will react. In fact, they'll react with a small adjustment, like a dog pile of buyers. And we know how to do that. And don't be surprised if these buyers come in and ask you, the seller, to pay their loan closing costs in addition to your own closing costs. We can definitely negotiate that, so don't worry too much about that. And pricing is really, it is kind of an art. I had one home that we sold about a year ago. It was up on acreage and Monument. It's a really cool house on 5 acres, big home, but it was an 80s time warp. It had the mauve pink carpet. It had hardwood floors that really were beat up. It had these scallop shaped sinks in pink in the bathrooms. Those are things that have kind of gone out of style. So one of the questions that seller asked me is, hey, should we remodel the bathroom? I mean, sorry, should we remodel the kitchen? And the answer is no, because if you do, first of all, most kitchen remodels are going to cost anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 right now if you do it right. You might be able to put in granite. Maybe that'll help just a little bit. That could be a little bit less expensive, maybe $5,000 to $10,000. Or appliances would be another $5,000. However, if you're talking about full-on cabinets and the whole thing, you're going to be spending $50,000 to $100,000. And the problem was when you looked at what's around it, which are all these beautiful new custom homes, buyers are going to pivot to that instead of buying an old 80s time warp. So all they had to do was price it right. And guess what happened? They did price it right. They priced it very realistically. We had 83 people at the open house. We had 4 offers and it sold for $75,000 over asking. That is pricing very realistic. And we did it for a reason and it worked out great. And that's still working to this day. You don't have to accept any offer you get. You don't have to accept any offer at all. And right now, studies show that 40% of the buyers will not even make an offer on a home unless it's priced right. It's pretty obvious to me. They're not even coming out to look at it because the imagery on the photos online is so good. They're making a decision before they leave their fuzzy bunny slippers to even go and drive by or take a look at that house if they don't think it's priced right. So all these stars have to align to succeed in this market right now. That's why how we teach our sellers how to price it realistically versus optimistically to get top dollar. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and I've been here in this market since 1996, a long time in real estate. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. She's with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can listen to the replays of the show anytime on all of the popular podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, what are some of the other magic bullets on pricing your home to get top dollar?
Well, Richard, these days, don't expect a bidding war unless you've got it priced very aggressively. That home I mentioned that was completely gutted down to the studs, the seller priced the home 40% below after repair value. That resulted in 30 offers, and it went up. The prices, the bidding war happened, and it went up another 10% from what they were asking. So in that case, they had to leave enough room for a fix and flip guy because it really is not habitable at this point. But they left enough room for a fix and flip person to go in and remodel it and do okay. Now, even if your home needs work, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go that deep in price. It just has to be a slight adjustment. It's enough to make a difference. And we know how to help sellers do that. You also have to pick the agent that really understands pricing, because overpricing right now in this market, with the inventory being 30% higher and the sales down by 15%, if you price too high and it sits on the market month after month after month, it's going to hurt you. It's going to get tired. People are not going to be excited to see it, and they're not going to be interested. Now, if you have made that mistake and you want to make a correction to get it sold, we know exactly how to do that and how you can be successful. So I just helped Bruce and Mary sell their home. We got 25,000 over asking because they priced it exactly right. But if you don't price it right and you're going to make an adjustment, there's a way that you can do that and still be successful in this market. If you are thinking of making a move, we'd love to show you all of our buyers in waiting and maybe match at least 100 of our buyers to your home. Plus, we have 64 high net worth cash buyers that'll make a decent cash offer, multiple cash offers on your home. Give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. If you're thinking of making or a move, you're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. And if you are thinking of selling your home, you want to make a move and make the most amount of money, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing a checklist to get your home ready for sale and hot new listings as well.
All right.
3 down.
3 down.
You know what? These all sound fresh to me. I mean, I know because I listen to everyone you've ever done, but I think these sound fresh to me.
Well, the market's different. I'm not giving away my secrets, though.
I know. I always say that people could just listen to your show, but I'm like, it's like a recipe. She probably keeps back a couple of things here that so I can give everything away. All right. My clock is all screwed up here. Okay. When you're ready, Barb, let me know.
Right, give me a second, I gotta remember this one. It's the last one I did today. Okay, I'm ready to go.
I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, as the buyers are finding ways to afford homes in this higher interest rate environment, they are getting pickier than ever. Getting a house ready to sell is the question often asked from people thinking of selling their home. So, how much difference does home sale preparation make when it comes to getting the most money on that home?
Well, Richard, it starts with pricing. I would say that's kind of 70% of the equation initially. And sometimes you can over upgrade and, not get the money out of it. I just met with a seller yesterday. She was leaning towards redoing all the cabinets because there was a little bit of, damage here and there in the cabinets. It's not necessarily in that price range. It wasn't necessary. So you really need an expert that knows, okay, should we do this if it was $1 million home? Maybe, but probably not for a starter home. So it's the number one question that we get from our home sellers. What do we need to do to get this home ready for sale? And what do we not need to do? That's important as well. And sometimes a very small investment can be a huge, sometimes a very small investment in the home can actually return a big amount of money for your investment. Typically, buyers want the best deal for their money. And as it stands right now, if the buyers don't see it as a bargain, it doesn't matter what kind of condition it's in, they're not even going to go look at it. They just won't go. So the number one answer we get to this, when we ask sellers, what's most important to them? I would say a majority of them say it's getting the most money, which it makes sense. But there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with fixing up a home, or they don't have the resources to spend the money to put in fresh carpet and this and that. So we have lots of solutions for people, including our high net worth cash buyers that will come in and purchase it from them as is, even do the flip for them. And that way they just move on. So we have lots of solutions. The problem is when you decide on pricing, I would say a majority of the agents now are looking backwards towards similar sales and going, oh, well, look, that one sold for this much. So my home must be worth the same as that one. If that were true, then how come homes are taking longer to sell, and how come many of them are going into 5 months, 6 months on the market without selling? It's because we have a 30% increase in the number of available homes and a 14% decrease in sales. So when you couple those two together, it means that we have 45% less opportunity to get every home sold. It's not working. You can't look at historic sales. It's a good benchmark to satisfy the appraiser, but it may not be the benchmark to get the home sold in this market today. And that's how you really need to know what the market is doing, what the competition is doing, what are the trends right now. We're seeing the days on market substantially rise right now because there's more available homes, because the rates have gone up. So that wipes out a large percentage of the buyer population. They just can't afford it. So they're holding off, hoping that the rates are going to come down. And I don't see anything in the news about the rates going down anytime soon. 7.5% is not a bad rate. When I first started in the business, I think it was over 9.5%. I remember my broker doing the happy dance when the rates went down to 7. So it's not a bad rate, but if the problem is the prices came up and they haven't corrected down enough yet. They did about 20,000 from last year, but it's not enough to move the bar to make it more affordable for buyers. And there are some people out there offering, financial incentives to help them into homes, which is kind of a cool thing. But at the end of the day, they're not going to come look at it if it's priced too high. So part of what we do, it's one of our skills, is to help sellers know what to do and what not to do to get their house ready for sale, what to fix and what not to fix. I had a home that we handled recently that was basically a 60s time warp. It was built in the 60s and it looked like it. It had probably the first ever double oven ever made. It was kind of cool. It's very retro looking, but it also had orange shag carpet and some other things that were a problem. So the seller went ahead and remodeled the kitchen, which turned out fabulous, updated the carpet and paint, but left the pink tile in the bathrooms. There was some kind of aged things that were in the home. And it did take a little bit of time to move it, but he did price it right. As soon as we got it priced right, boom, we got multiple offers and it sold. We had another one up on Wood Lake, up off of Hodgen Road on 5 acres. And their strategy was, we just want to get it sold. We're going to go as is. We're not going to fix anything. And they decided to price it right, and boom, it sold right away. They're happy as clam. They didn't have to do any work. I had another one. There was a really nice custom home in Glen Eagle. And initially the carpet looked okay with the furniture in the house, but when they moved out, you could see all the stains. And it just stood out at you when you're looking at the home. So we're getting showing after showing, no offers. It also had border in the master and a border somewhere else. And, that was an older style. It very much dates a home. So they came back, freshened the carpet, freshened the bathroom vanities, got rid of the border, and we put in some staging furniture, and boom, right after that, we sold it almost asking price. So sometimes it's just little tweaks that can make the difference between it selling and not selling. Flooring is always very important. Buyers you can't get them to move the needle if they don't like the flooring. New appliances, maybe. Whether or not you update the countertops with granite, it really depends on the price range. You can over upgrade a home if comparable homes are not in a high price point. So you don't want to do that. Sometimes really quality Formica in the lower price points is enough to make it look good and look fresh. Luxury vinyl flooring is real popular right now, but carpet's less expensive. So it's just going to depend on the price range and what is the standard for that price range of home. And we can help you do that. The other thing is you want to make sure that you look at the competition and focus on these key rooms. Number one, curb appeal. Now, I know the yards are just coming out of dormancy. This is a great time to freshen up your yards because curb appeal, the buyers spend most of the time looking at the outside first before they're motivated to walk in the door, followed by the backyard, followed by the living room, the kitchen, the master bathroom, then the master bedroom. Those are the rooms to focus on. And when you present a home online, you have less than a minute to make an impression with a buyer. So you want to make sure that your home looks, oh, wow, within the first 5 to 8 pictures. So you need to hire an agent that really has recent market experience to help you price it right, plan out what needs to be done, and market it appropriately. Typically, updated homes are going to sell for top dollar. Aggressively priced homes will sell for top dollar. Homes priced very realistically versus optimistically will sell for top dollar. And the photos and the marketing have to be perfect. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about a checklist for getting your home ready for sale. And next up, we're going to talk about the top 8 things that you should put on your sale preparation checklist. So if you are thinking of making a move and you want us to match one of our 28,881 buyers to your home, or our high net worth cash buyers, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
We're talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is your real estate voice. Barb's the host of the program, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Now, Barb, you've prepared a checklist to help people prepare their homes for sale. Is it just as simple as how the home looks?
Well, it's not that simple. I wish it was that simple, because even the pretty remodeled homes are not necessarily selling. And, Richard, not everybody wants to go through the whole traditional dance of having buyers look at their home. We actually have this cash offer program where you can have absolute certainty that your home is sold. We can get you a guaranteed cash offer on your home, or get you an offer at a price agreeable to you, and you don't have to deal with showings or repairs, and you can move on your schedule. So if you're interested in that, go to barbhasthebuyers.com or give us a call. But really, it's the whole package. It's preparation, it's pricing, it's picking the right agent to make sure it's promoted appropriately. But here are the top 8 things that you really need to consider. Number 1, pricing. You have to get that right. Number 2, making sure you're picking the right agent that knows how to market. Buyers won't go look at a home if they're priced too high. I don't care how pretty it is. No, they won't make an offer. I get that question all the time. So you got to make sure it's prepared properly. You got to make sure it's actually marketed, maximum exposure to all the major websites so that it gets found out there. And you want to make sure that you hire an agent that knows how to manage the whole sales process, including things like offering the certified pre-owned home program, so you know for sure you're going to pass your inspection. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. Make sure you pick an agent that's actively selling in your market. Otherwise, it could be a disaster. 719-301-3900 or barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, you've got some hot new listings. Tell us about them.
I do. Well, I have a beautiful 2.5-acre lot up on Boulder Lane in Woodmore Mountain, priced at $129,900. Great building site with fabulous views. An adorable townhome with 2 masters on 1601 Riley Grove in the mid 3s. A fantastic home out on Powers Road, priced in the mid 3s on 35 acres with a garage. Also a great townhome in Briargate, priced at $320,000. Everything's been updated in this great place. Featured open today, 5345 Water Dipper Road, priced at $424,999. Everything's been redone in this gorgeous home. And then we have a fabulous property out on McClellan Road on 40 acres, priced at $459,999 with a 4-car garage, fantastic well, beautiful spot. We have another one on Soapweed in Calhan, priced at $449,999, 40 acres and a beautiful barn, and then a beautiful townhome on Wind River Point. If you want easy care living, this place is for you. It's gorgeous. Hardwood floors, huge kitchen, great entertaining space. We also have a fabulous home, 6820 Snowbird Drive. This is very close, and it backs up to the walking trail that goes to the Santa Fe Trail, priced in the mid 5s, and that one's been completely remodeled. Fabulous home on Stanton Street by UCCS, priced just under $400,000. A beautiful home on Allegiance Drive, close to the Air Force Academy, priced in the low 6s. And then we have 2 great homes out in Peyton. If you want 5 acres and the ability to have horses, there's a great one on 12715 Gull Lane, priced at $719,000. And another one on Acowie Drive out in Peyton, priced at $724,000. And a beautiful Broadmoor home, 4315 Star Ranch Road in the upper 8s. Coming soon, we have a fantastic home in the trees in Elbert on 5 acres with an RV garage. So if you're thinking of making a move, check out my website, barbhasthebuyers.com, for all of our sneak peek homes, or give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday, 11 o'clock, right after Cudlow. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. You can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, or you can listen to the podcast on all of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many others. Thank you for listening, and to reach out to Barb, call 719-301-3900. Have a great week. Barb, you have a great weekend and a great week as well.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.
Hopefully we don't get snow, but
I was out